Tonight on the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, she's beautiful and seductive, but watch out, boy, she will suck you dry. Melinda May stars in Tobe Hooper's Lifeforce. And welcome to another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, Unchained from the Content Nazis. Yes, episode number 16, halfway through this murderous mayhem marathon. And tonight, coming off of last night's classic film, Brian De Palma's Dress to Kill, I thought, you know what? I want to get into a little bit more of the sci-fi fare. As we all know, sci-fi and horror are like peanut butter and chocolate. They just go so well together. I mean, we have great movies like Alien and whatnot. And like the original Terminator could be considered a slasher film. I mean, he's an unstoppable killing machine. But tonight's movie is a movie that was meant to be the big epic that was going to shoot canon films into the upper echelon. Unfortunately, because of a lot of different things going on, it did not, and kinda was, I guess, poorly received. However, it has definitely gained a cult following since its release, and it is a very solid movie, and that is Tobe Hooper's Lifeforce. Yes, Lifeforce. So what is Lifeforce about? Well, apparently Halley's Comet is coming close to Earth, and so there's a joint US-UK mission to go study the comet. While the astronauts are approaching the comet, they notice that there is this gigantic metal structure. I mean, we're talking a couple miles long. And so they decide to investigate. And inside the structure are the desiccated remains of these weird bat-like creatures. They're kind of large, too. Large, weird bat-like creatures. And further in, they find a room full of crystals. And there are 3 what appear to be human beings inside these crystals, and one of them is a very, very beautiful and very, very nude woman. And so the astronauts decide to collect not only a bat specimen, but to collect those crystal life forms again, and put them into the space shuttle. However, 30 days later, NASA has not heard from them, and they send another shuttle to see what's going on. They dock, and they find out that there was a huge fire broke out in the shuttle. All the crew is dead, and that the only thing left in pristine condition are the 3 humans, so to speak, in their crystal coffins. And they decide, hey, let's bring them back to Earth. And of course, they think they're dead. And they're about to do an autopsy on the beautiful female when she comes awake and kind of, I guess, makes out with a guard. But instead of just, giving some tongue, she sucks the life force out of him. And he gets all shriveled up like a human, like Capri Sun, like a human juice bag, just, it gets all, and of course he's dead, and she also has powers to kind of manipulate people's minds and also cause them pain, and she has like the force or whatever, because she like totally blew out the windows on the bottom floor and escapes, and she's out in the wild. And of course now an SAS officer is now in charge of trying to figure out where she is. However, there's a couple turns in the plot. A couple hours later, when they're doing the autopsy of the guard that she just shriveled up, he comes back to life and attacks one of the doctors and sucks the life out of him, and that guy shrivels up, but then the guard, is back to normal. However, apparently, there's like a 2-hour thing going on, because after 2 hours, he starts to shrivel up again, the guard, and needs life force to continue to be alive. So basically, they're vampires from space. Oddly enough, based on the book called Space Vampires. Anyways, so not only does this woman loose, who's probably going to spread the infection, because, yeah, when you get your life sucked out of you, you come back and you need to suck the life out of someone else, or you crumble into dust, which sounds like a horrible way to die. After you kind of die the first time, getting all your life shriveled out of you. Anyways, also, somebody did escape that original mission, and their escape pod crashes in Texas, and now the guy who escaped has a psychic link with the vampiress girl. And so the SAS guy is trying to use him and his psychic link to find her so that they can stop her from spreading the disease and causing all kinds of chaos and destruction in her wake. And so, yeah. Well, let's get into those scores, shall we? Violence and gore. I am going to give it a 3 out of 5, even though there's not a whole lot of blood. There is some good, like, head shooting toward the end. What it is the soul-sucking scenes are super well done. They are all practical effects, and they are just gruesome. I mean, they are pretty gruesome, and just, you're like, oh my god, this has got to be a horrible way to go. And so I'm going to give it some points because of some great practical special effects, things that they would have done in CG nowadays, and it would have just been crap. But a little bit of the, I guess, Raiders of the Lost Ark thing going on in some of the scenes too. But yeah, very, very nice. So I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. Plus, hundreds of people die in this movie. I mean, yeah, you don't see it all, but it is pretty violent when you think about it in that context. So 3 out of 5. Shock value, 1 out of 5. There are a couple good jumps in this movie, but other than that, it's not that scary. It's more about the idea of this vampiric, monstrous, sucking the life out of you that creates the fear and the horror and the dread. So anyways, 1 out of 5. Plot, 4 out of 5. It is an interesting movie. I was engrossed watching it. And I like the way that they kind of created it. It's a sci-fi movie, but it's also a monster movie. And they connect it to the lore of vampires, saying that these beings may have visited Earth beforehand, and that's where we get a lot of our vampire lore. I mean, to kill it, you have to stab it with iron in its midsection, its power point. They were giant bat-like creatures, so yeah, the vampires turning into bats. The fact that like they can kind of seduce you just with a look, and they kind of create like a little psychic link with you and compel you, come here. And so I know like one of the characters were describing it as something as like beyond sexual, beyond spiritual. It was like an attraction never felt before, beyond anything, and it was hard to resist. So, I mean, you get that kind of thing in the lore, and I really enjoyed that, because it's like, maybe that's some of the monsters we have in our, mythos are actually like monsters from outer space and stuff like that. I don't know. Anyways, but I really enjoyed that. It's a solid plot, and it flows well. A couple points is that the movie kind of just ends, and there are some questions like I want kind of answered, not like big overarching, but questions like, they were planning on nuking something. Are they still going to do it? Because we don't get a little, because the movie just kind of, it's over. So there is a little bit of problems with that, but overall, awesome. 4 out of 5. Acting, also 4 out of 5. I would have given it a perfect, except some of the crew in the beginning were kind of wooden in their delivery, and that was kind of noticeable and jarred me. But overall, I mean, you got Sir Patrick Stewart in this movie, and he does a great job. I think everyone within that movie, even Melinda May, who plays the space girl, even though, you know, most of her acting is like looks and things, and I think she did a really good job. Plus, it's got to be a challenge being naked for about 90% of your screen time. So yeah. Anyways, 4 out of 5. Nudity, I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. Look, she is, first of all, she is hot, awesome. She is super hot. And you get to see basically everything from her. And we're not talking about just like brief, a couple seconds of her tits. It's like a lot. And it's there for a long time. But it's not completely throughout the entire film. But it's still quite a bit. So 3 out of 5. A+. She is an A+. Okay, sorry my battery died. Oh my god. Oh, the luck. Anyways, but yes. A+. 3 out of 5. Awesome. Lovely. Moving on. Enjoyment factor is a 4.5 out of 5. I thoroughly love this movie. It is so engaging. Almost everything about this movie I like. Yes, the effects are kind of dated, especially at the beginning. You can kind of see the blue screen and the matting and things like that. But like the suckage, that stuff was pretty awesome. And yes, the ending where it just kind of ends and you don't get a little bit, yeah, there's that, a little bit of the acting, but all together, just so fun, so wonderful. At the end, it's a long movie, it's about 2 hours long, and yet you don't feel like it dragged at any time, at least I didn't. And I was just thoroughly engaged and engrossed, and it was great. 4.5 out of 5, almost perfect. My overall impression, though, is a 4 out of 5. Yes, like I said, problem with the ending, a little bit of plot problems here and there, some kind of weak acting, and yeah, the beginning special effects kind of dated. However, the whole package is still awesome. 4 out of 5. Be sure to get the European cut or the director's cut, the one with the epic opening in space with the score is just, it gets your blood pumping, as opposed to the American edit, which just starts out with a little string and then Lifeforce, and then you're kind of like, what? Anyways, so there you have it. That averages out to a 3.4 out of 5, which is a pretty dang high score when you count the averages, because a lot of movies just lose points for not being violent enough or naked enough. Anyway, so there you go. Lifeforce. There is they could make a more naked version of that, but then it would just be like porn. I don't know. Anyways. So there you have it. Tell me, what did you think? Have you seen Lifeforce? Leave a comment in the comment section. Did you like it? Did you agree with me? Do you think it's awesome? That it's a shame that it didn't rise to prominence where it should have? Or did you think it was trash and garbage and, you know, it deserves to be in the dustbin of history? If that's the case, then, I don't even know where to begin with you. But anyways, so that ends episode number 16 on the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, and I will see you next time on the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, Unchained from the Content Nazis. But until then, you stay scary, internet, and remember, if you come across a beautiful naked woman and she wants to make out with you, I mean, I'm not gonna judge you if you do it. You know, I mean, yeah, you know, you're probably gonna die. It's probably a bad thing, but you know, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes, I guess. You know, yeah.